Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Ginge and Pedro Show. I am, of course, your host, Mr. Ginge Gingerton. Alongside me, the nefarious Mr. Pedro Ang.
How you doing, guys? And dude, the sun's still out here, which is
Mm-hmm.
weird. And I
Yeah,
have
buddy.
this like reflection behind me on this side. I don't know. It's
Okay,
the
all
sun,
right.
guys. It's not Satan. So just chill.
You know,
So
let's get the obligatory small talk out of the way. It is
yeah,
hotter than shit
yeah.
here in Florida right now, so I am
hmm
wondering it's got to be twice as hot down there in Panama.
not twice as hot, but twice as humid. Yeah,
Mm,
it's just it's refuse. It doesn't want to rain. That's
yeah,
it should be raining right now, but it's not, and it's
you would think
making
so,
everything worse.
right? Being a tropical place.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the things like in April, like we should be like full out rain.
Mm,
So now we have no guayabas, which you call that those guavas, and people are
right.
missing that.
Mm-hmm.
And the coconut
Islands.
season, it's not done yet. And I'm here talking about fruit. So let's get the show. Let's get on with the show, man.
All right. So I was trying to buy some time here. I only have part of my segue, so maybe see if
Mm,
we can do this in live time here. But
okay.
no,
We can still
we
talk
are
about fruit if you want.
no, it's all right. We'll
Mm,
probably save that for another time. But
yeah.
no, we have been branching out here on the show, as our lovely viewers, will know. We've been doing. We
Yeah.
started off a comic book show and quickly
Yes.
dabbled into animation due to
Oh
your
yeah.
animating, your history.
hmm
And me being a big horror guy and just being interested in anybody that will talk to us really. We've been branching out and getting lots of new creators and including novelists. So
Yeah.
let's. I think the cat's out of the bag, buddy. Let's go
Oh
ahead and bring her
no.
on, Cat Voleur. I hope I pronounced your
Hello.
last name correctly as well. I should have.
I'm sorry for that cat. Oh no, the cat's out of the
Cat's
bag, gent. Really?
yeah, man. The cat is out of the bag.
Oh
Here she is.
no.
All right,
What's
Hello.
up, cat? Hi.
How's it going?
Oh, we're
great.
doing great. Yeah, it's awesome.
All right.
So let's get this show on the road, Ginge.
Good, buddy. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Kat, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're a writer. Have you always wanted to be a writer? Was that something, growing up you knew you wanted to do, or tell us
Uh,
about that?
yeah, it's something a lot of teachers told me that I was going to be.
Hmm.
I kind of fought it for a long time because I didn't think it was a career, which
Mm,
sounds kind of it. Usually that story goes the other way, but
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of creative arts teachers tell me, like, you're going to be doing this one day. And I was like, I think I'm going to be a doctor. Uh, and that didn't pan out.
Hmm.
Um,
right.
I got my first writing job like I was still in high school. I don't think they knew that, but I was 18, but I was like finishing up my senior year of high school, and I got my
Hmm.
first writing job. And then once I saw that I could make money doing this, it was like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna
Awesome.
keep doing that.
Yeah. So your first writing job, what was it? Was it like making copies for commercials, or just like what kind of writing assignment you got?
It was ghostwriting. I used to
Ghostwriting.
ghostwrite
Okay.
romance novels.
Oh.
So
Right.
Oh, awesome.
yeah, I actually have no recollection of any of the things that I wrote. But it's a field where if you can write fast, you can make a lot of money. So
Hmm.
I did that for a while,
Oh,
where it was
nice.
just,
Hmm.
It's a fun
um,
title as well, being a ghostwriter. Nothing to
yeah.
do with being dead, of course, but
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
okay. So let's talk a little bit about your inspiration. You got into writing pretty early on. Was there anything specifically growing up that you were a huge fan of that said I want to do this? Or is there anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I got into horror pretty young also. And it was around the same time. For horror, it was more the movies.
Hmm.
But like I did grow up with a lot of like Goosebumps and Scary Stories
Awesome.
to Tell in the Dark was a big
Yeah.
one. The Stephen Gamble art for Scary Stories was like a huge thing for
Mhm.
me as a
Right.
kid. And yeah, and then I got into like horror movies when I was a little bit older than that,
Hmm.
and that always has kind of influenced me. The writing kind of came more in stages. I think I read a lot,
Yeah.
Mhm.
You got it.
so
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean the thing is like I don't like carbon dating people. We tell like which movie like influenced you because it's like ooh the 80s. So since okay, regardless of timetable, like what were the movies that influenced you, and not in
Um,
chronological order, just
so I'm not afraid of being dated. I actually
okay.
wrote. I've done a lot of horror journalism, and I
Mm-hmm.
actually wrote about this recently. That the movie I think that really like the first big one was the 1997 Canadian horror film Cube. Um,
Mm.
I was like 6, I think, and I snuck into the room, and just no one knew I was there, and it was like
Yeah.
the first. That one had a big impact on me. Before that, I had watched like a lot of the old black and white Vincent Price movies,
Oh,
like
cool.
with my parents, and so you know it was always kind of there. And then actually, it's funny you should ask this. Another really big one that inspired me, like when I was getting into the genre, was Final Destination.
Oh, nice.
Uh, I saw you guys. I actually just today watched the episode you guys did with Jeffrey Reddick,
Mm-hmm,
and
Oh
mm-hmm.
yeah. Yep. Super nice
Yeah, that
guy.
was all. Yeah,
yeah,
awesome.
he's so nice. I read his latest novel today,
Hmm.
actually, so that was fun.
Very cool.
Yes. Tamara. I think I saw
Yeah.
that. Yeah. How was it?
Oh, it was good. Big fan of the movie. The novelization had like a lot of the deleted content, so that was
Mm,
great to see.
Interesting.
awesome. Yeah.
Very cool. So, um, at what point did you really start taking writing seriously? You took a break after, maybe doing some ghost writing. What
Mhm.
was, what was the sort of fish hook that brought you back in?
Um, so I worked for a long time after the ghostwriting. I kind of tried to get serious about it one other time. I got really into horror specific journalism, which
Mm,
was how I did my freelancing for most of my career. I took a break from doing that because honestly, I just found a job that made more money, and
yeah.
it was I really liked doing the job. But I got oh no, uh, I
Trucks.
got
Sorry.
no worries. So I was working actually as a dungeon master. I was playing 5th
Right.
edition Dungeons and Dragons online for a living, for almost 2 years, and it was the money was good. I loved the people. I had so much fun doing it. I had bronchitis, and it
Mm.
did a number on my voice. And I'd been talking at my job like 6 hours a day minimum, so it was like so I couldn't do that anymore. And at first we didn't know like how long I'd be out or how serious it was going to be, and so to kind of fill up that time I went back to freelancing a little bit. And then I had forgotten, after like almost 2 years away, I had forgotten how much I liked writing. And that was around
Mm,
the time I decided I wanted to get some stuff published under my own name, in terms of fiction. So I kind of made that jump actually just at the beginning of 2022. I decided I was
nice.
going to start doing that. And
Very
yeah.
nice. Okay, great. So, could you tell us how's it going? I know you've got your day. The reason I sort of came across you is you were looking for shows to promote your debut book, right? Revenge Arc.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But you did some shorts, and you've got some other things going on as well, or
Yeah, I've done a lot of short stories. I should have the number, but I don't. I had a lot of fiction publications last year. I had an essay published with Off Limits Press. I still do some horror journalism. I've worked a little bit with Dread Central, and um, but
nice.
for the most part, I am trying to now more focus on fiction, and it's going pretty
Mhm.
well. I've got some short stories coming out this year, also leading up to the debut, so that's exciting.
Definitely. And
Yeah, sounds cool. Yeah.
so what we have in the comic book sphere is sort of a ecosystem of promotion and basically doing sales through crowdfunding websites and different things like that. I'm curious, as a novelist, what do you guys have on the other side of the fence?
Yeah.
I know there's a Twitter sphere, but what's like the network like over there? Are you
So
guys
yeah,
a tight group or?
there's a pretty tight group on Twitter. There's the indie horror community. I
Mhm.
do. like a lot of work with small presses, and I actually these last few months, like since the first of the year, have gotten closer with the self-publishing community that they have on Twitter. Some fantastic work over there. They do some crowdfunding. The biggest one that I can think of off the top of my head, like the Book of Queer Saints, gets crowdfunded every time that comes around. But for the most part, it's more of it's closer to what you would imagine of publishing. There's not a lot of crowdfunding. There's a lot of querying and rejections and
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
that kind of
that's
stuff.
the thing. Like I don't know, as a comic book artist, like it's not that I can't handle rejection, but it's just that we're cutting the middleman and we're just going directly to the fans through crowdfunding.
Yeah.
And just doing like shows like this and just like get your internet presence. I'm not bashing like publishing houses or anything, but at some point, like it's another way, because in the end what you want is the book in people's hands.
Yeah.
And this is another way. Like I don't know, like I see that video games, tabletop is doing it, but I don't see literature doing it that much. And I mean, if you take what's the name, was it Brandon Sanderson or
Yeah, he did that, the big
Yeah, dude.
Kickstarter, I think it was.
Yeah, he did a Kickstarter. He collected like what, like $23 million. But I mean, it's him. I mean, it's not saying like if I don't do 23 million, I failed. Like, it's not that. But yeah, like come up with. You already have the network, so just come up with the shows, dude. People enjoy horrors. Like I watch YouTube channels of people just telling horror stories.
Yeah.
There's like 2 hours of horror stories. So, and those videos have millions of views. So the interest in horror is there.
Mhm.
So it's just a matter of, dude, getting up your YouTube presence or Rumble or whatever you want to use, and dude, start talking about horror, start presenting stories. Like the people are there, so it's just a matter of doing it.
Absolutely. And actually some of my all-time like favorite horror novels have started from YouTube channels.
Yeah.
Tales from the Gas Station is like one of my all-time favorite series, and that
Yeah, I
started
like the name.
as yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they're up to like 4 or 5 books now. Like they're doing really well.
It's an anthology series, it sounds like.
No, actually, it's a I think originally it was a no sleep story, and then it branched onto its own website. It got picked up by like one of the top horror narrators, Mr. Creepypasta, did a narration for his channel, and now they're books. Now they're doing really well as books.
I know Mr. Creepypasta, and I know Mr. Ballen. He also is a good one too. And that's the thing. Like maybe through there, like just get the books in their hands, do a little collab with those guys. But the thing is, like in this YouTube sphere, it's presence. Will make deals with presence. So it's just like you gotta get yourself out there. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like do more YouTube.
Let me hop in here real quick. Kat's sort of speaking of that. You have a podcast as well, right?
Yeah,
I do.
Okay,
Nice.
Yeah. Could you tell us about it?
Yeah, I'm one of the co-hosts for the Slasher Radio podcast.
Awesome name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome show. I came in, like they'd already done a couple hundred episodes without me, but I've been doing it for a couple of years now.
Awesome.
And yeah, we talk about horror movies. We pick a different horror movie every week, and the three of us talk about it.
Very nice.
Do you guys have a shirt or a logo? Just like with the name, I want a shirt. Just.
Yeah, I think we're on Shopify right now. We've moved around a lot.
Oh, yeah. Send the link in the private chat so we can share that. Yeah.
I'm wearing the shirt right now, but it's under a hoodie
nice.
because my office is freezing.
Oh.
So.
Well, I'm melting down here, so you see, it's a matter of perspective.
I think I actually have it. Yes, Slasher Radio. Right here.
Do it.
Hang on, I'll pull her up. Yeah, I actually followed it today. I'm gonna give y'all a listen. We had a writer on, Marty Shannon, who's a HWA member. He did a podcast. He's done a couple episodes for a podcast, Mortis Malefactum, I think it's called, where he'll write short stories, and he just is able to get a few in there. You know, it was very interesting because we did a show with him, and he came across almost as like an elementary school teacher, very buttoned up, clean. Everything looked great. And then a few days later, I listened to that podcast with one of his writings. It was just like completely fucked up. And I was like, wow, that had really, it's like that classic thing where you did not thought that this guy was capable of such madness. But let me get that up here. And
Yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, I'm glad you have the link. I don't have the Shopify link anymore. I wonder if we moved. I'm always the last to know. I think because I'm the last to have joined the podcast, I'm always the last to know when we switch merch sites.
I know the feeling.
Okay, so
sorry,
but no, you're good, buddy. I'll take a light roasting. It's all right.
Yeah.
Sprinkle some herbs on me. It'll be all right. No. So,
And
let's go ahead. I'm sorry, please.
Oh no, we also have guests too sometimes that are. We actually had Jeffrey Reddick. That's how I met him, was through the Slasher Radio podcast.
Very nice. Yes, and he's, you know, again, just to sort of talk about how nice that dude is. He ends every message with a smiley face, and the fact that he's just going out there and donating his time. Really, I see it as donating his time because he must be a busy dude, or, you know, at least having created such a fantastic franchise that's so beloved, you would think he'd be kind of maybe big timing people, but no, not at all. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit, since horror can be a more personal thing for people, you know, without maybe getting too specific. But what is it you think that really scares you? Is it people, monsters? Is there something in specific, or is it just a love of the genre? Or
It's a love of the genre more than anything, which was something that I guess the thing that scares me, this is a very convoluted writer-specific fear, but I heard a lot, like when I was starting my writing career, that to be really good as a horror writer, you should be scared easily, because tapping into those emotions can feed your craft better. And as someone that doesn't get scared by a lot of things, it was like, oh no. And then I started to like get kind of in my head about that. And I think anxiety, a lot of my work focuses around building internal anxiety, because that is something that I experience pretty regularly. It scares me more than people and monsters for the most part. So
yeah, I'm not generally afraid. It's just clowns. I can't stand freaking clowns.
yes, Pedro has a fear of clowns. Not maybe necessarily like Stephen King specific, but more because he says that their face paint runs in Panama and it makes them look more freakish, I guess.
Yeah, and one kidnapped me when I was 6. So
okay, I
that'll
forgot
do
about
it.
that. Yeah,
that'll do it.
That's fair.
Screw clowns.
All right, so let's sort of dive a little bit more into your writing, Kat. Let me get Revenge Arc here. I know you've got a website up. Yes. Tell us about Revenge Arc, though, please.
Revenge Arc, it's my debut book. It is coming out August 1st through Archive of the Odd Press. They specialize in found file horror, which is very much the template of my bobook. This is actually their first novella, so, you know, no pressure.
Nice. All right, congrats.
And it follows actually a writer, a comic writer and movie critic who has to take an internet hiatus. It's all of the posts and speculation online during that hiatus about why she left, and some creepy things that have been going on related to her comic. And it's all told in Reddit posts and Discord servers and on Twitter, and so no traditional formatting in this one.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah.
Yes. I haven't finished it yet, but I got a copy. Sadly, my dog got a hold of it as well. It's still in good condition. Yeah, but I've had to just put it away. But Andy Cole, he put together an anthology called Found. It's like in this really nice VHS. It's like found footage anthology. I won a copy of it, like in his giveaway. And the first 2 stories were really incredible. And one of them is done in like an almost in all text message format, and then at the end they do a couple like case files when shit is just really getting crazy. And at first, when I was like, text message story, I was like, I didn't necessarily see why I should be compelled to read it. But then when you get into it, it very quickly was like, all right, this shit's getting crazy. So I was really impressed with it until my dog sadly got a hold of it.
Your dog was impressed too.
Yeah, no, that's why I have to take him everywhere now, because I can't. Yeah, I've lost.
Can't trust him. Yeah.
No, dude. Okay. All right. So, what motivated you to want to do it in this format, in a found file, sort of like, file? I don't even know what did you call it? I'm sorry.
I called it found file.
Okay.
There's a very fine semantic line, I think, in between found file and epistolary horror. I know that a lot of people use those words interchangeably, but to me, and I think generally in the community, if not literal definition, why, like, found file is a little bit more modern, whereas epistolary horror usually refers to just like letters back and forth, like a la Dracula.
Right.
But I decided that I wanted to do it. It was a style that I had, epistolary horror, that is, was a style I had always kind of appreciated. And this was a story that I've just been wanting to tell for a really long time. I had the idea years and years ago, and I never found a way to tell it that felt right. There are a lot of layers for any kind of traditional prose in this one, so I was just really worried about like getting everything across. I also the story within a story, the comic, is about red rooms and different urban legends on the deep web. Right. And as someone that has read a lot of deep web urban legends online, I thought it would be really interesting to bring that across, to make you feel like you're kind of stumbling down that Reddit rabbit hole at 3:00 in the morning. Ooh. So because that's how I got into those legends. So
ow. Okay, sorry, just flashbacks. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, definitely digging the pitch, digging the idea, a found file. I'm a big found footage fan. I know some people have mixed feelings about like Paranormal Activity, and I understand their complaints. But for me, I really loved the first one, and it had me hooked right away. But what's sort of interesting about that series is there is a storyline there. I mean, however sort of loosely threaded it may be, like there is some shit going on with the cult and this time traveling demon. It ends up being an interesting series, but it's just for me a big inspiration in terms of found footage. Movies. Okay.
Found footage, I think, is really hit or miss as a genre, not only with people, but from like movie to movie, because either you're going to get like this hidden gem of a film, or you're going to get something that someone made with their iPhone and didn't think through all the way.
Yeah. But the thing that I found with found footage is that I can see a movie and can tell the director, like, I just saw the Blair Witch Project and I'm gonna do my own. And that's the thing. It's really hard to avoid those notes that will make it end up looking like the Blair Witch Project. You know what I mean? It's just, you gotta be really clever about it.
And one thing that I do think, aside from the marketing, obviously Paranormal Activity had one of the wildest marketing campaigns ever. But I do think, like, other than that, one of the best things that Paranormal Activity did was it really created its own style of found footage. Love it or hate it, it was very original. Like,
right, just sitting on a basically a tripod or something clever, a fan or whatever, and just capturing the moment. Yeah, as opposed to something like the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
So, Kat, let me ask you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, what movies have you seen this year that really sort of shocked your socks off?
This year, the last calendar year, or 2023 specifically, because I'm not 2022 spoiled me in horror movies. Like, I just had my pick of like whatever I wanted. And 2023 has impressed me a little bit less. I did just see Evil Dead Rise though, and that was I was pleasantly surprised.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. Got to check it out.
Yeah, I saw it too. I give it a 7.5, I think. I enjoyed pretty much every minute of it. I just would have wanted them to go a little harder on the gore, like the start of the movie, with the drone, for example. Like I feel like they could have given us a little more violence with the way it cut her face. It felt a little soft, but I'm a big fan of the Evil Dead remake, which I know a lot of people don't like.
That is so funny because I am on our podcast in our little side of the horror sphere. I'm actually the only one that doesn't like it. And I just recently, after Evil Dead Rise, rewatched it. I found I like it a lot more if I don't look at it as an Evil Dead film. Like if I take it as just like a 2013 over the top serious horror film, I like it a lot better.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think you can do that with that movie pretty easily enough too. Like I know a lot of people complain because there wasn't like a direct Ash, character necessarily, but and then I don't know. It also maybe lacked the humor elements that Evil Dead 2 had, that charm. But as far as playing with somebody else's toys and making a really, really effective movie, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. And it's just for that reason, it's like if you don't see it as an Evil Dead movie, it's just like I remember seeing it in theaters, and at the end scene, right before it starts raining blood, I'm literally in my chair thinking, I'm like, I don't know what else that they can do next. Like this shit was incredible, and then it just starts raining blood, and I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Okay.
But yeah, really, really great movie, and it's kind of funny. While I was watching Evil Dead Rise, I'd have to put 2013 above Evil Dead Rise, and maybe this is just in my own head, but I sort of feel like maybe some of the decisions to not go as hard in the violence and in the blood with Evil Dead Rise, I kind of felt like it was almost a non-competitive move, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like I can admire wanting to stand as your own movie, and I also really liked how they took it to a new location. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
But it felt like it was trying to not be as bloody as maybe the 2013 movie. I don't know.
I think they also, especially considering the reboot, the 2013, and looking at some of the source material, they could have gone more graphic with it. What really landed for me was the dark humor. Like it did have that comedy aspect that I think I was missing out of 2013. And even the violence that was there felt very like almost surrealistic. It was very exaggerated. It felt more like an evil. This was what I wanted from 2013. I think that I didn't get was kind of that vibe. But I do agree with you. I've seen a lot of people praising the lack of gore in Rise, and that's not. It didn't bother me, but that wasn't a selling point. I always think that movies could be a little bit more gory. So,
I mean, for me, I went in wanting to love it, and I did. I still wouldn't change anything. I would just have upped it. Like, for example, and I'm not seriously not bashing the movie at all, but one of the things they used in the marketing a lot was the cheese grater, right? We saw a cheese grater all throughout the marketing scene, or all throughout the marketing, but then it's just one short scene, just like one. And yes, it would be very painful on the leg, but I don't know, pin her down and like do it a few more times. You could have given me a few more grades. Maybe I'm insane. That might be the case.
I don't know, man. Like if you're talking about cheese graters, I don't know if you guys know Tokyo Shock, that company.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so Tokyo Shock is exactly what it sounds like. It's shock, and they have this movie there called the Story of Ricky, and in that movie, I don't know how do you call that in English, but is that like it's called a wood brush? You know what that is?
Like a shock brush.
Yeah. So a guy takes a wood brush to the face on the Story of Ricky, and they put another guy through a meat grinder feed first. And
Yeah.
I don't know, like at some point, it's like it's not horror anymore. It just becomes a joke. So that's the thing. Like I like that a movie will leave a little bit to my imagination when it goes like too much gore. And some people like welcome gore. Like I'm totally get it. Like for me, I rather finish the sentence in my head. You know what I mean? And I think
Yeah.
it's a good element of horror when the unknown is part of the fear. You know what I mean?
Yes, and right. I don't. There is a fine line between like trying to do too much. It's like trying to be an edgy teenager or an artist.
Yeah.
Really, there is like
Yeah.
a tightrope you kind of do have to walk. But I am a bit of a gore hound, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Dude, there's nothing wrong with that, dude.
So, Kat, I don't know if this is a strange question, but for me, the movie Cannibal Holocaust made me physically ill. I had to chain smoke marijuana to get through that movie.
Yeah.
Is there one for you? What was the first? Was there any movie that's been so gory that it made you sick? Or
Yeah, it's it's a little bit embarrassing to admit because it's now one of my favorite movies, like ever, which is embarrassing in its own right. I got pretty sick. Like I not leave the theater sick. I didn't throw up. I'm not gonna exaggerate it at all, but there is one scene in Saw 3 that just gets under my skin every time I watch it. I've seen it too many times, and
which scene?
the scene with the pigs in the meat grinder, all
Okay.
the dead decaying, they try to drown a guy in dead pig, and that was
man.
just like,
Yeah.
no, no, I don't like this. And I think that might have been the only one that like really got me ever. And it was. I was pretty young when I saw the first like big horror movie that I ever wanted to see in a theater was Saw 2, and I was a little bit too young when it came out. My parents were like, "No," and I was like, and I was so sad about it, and I hounded them like all year. And the Saw movies came out like right around my birthday every year, so Saw 3, I was like, "Please." I love the first two Saw movies so much. Let's go. And finally, my parents relented. And 3 was a lot gorier than 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And I was like not quite prepared for that on a big screen, but I turned out fine.
Yeah, certainly nothing twisted at all. No.
No.
Well, say hello to the chat real quick. We got Shadowhawk flying in. Hey, buddy. Lack of gore is a problem for him. All right. Buckets of blood for Mr. Hawk. Then. Alrighty. So, what other movies? Maybe not necessarily gore specific, but because I do agree, 2022 was a pretty good year for horror. Kind of had a hit and miss leading up to then, but there was like 6 or 7 just really solid, at least 6 or 7 really solid movies, I'd say, from 2022. Yeah,
I actually did for Ginger Nuts of Horror. I did a top 20 list of movies just from 2022, and it had some winners. I don't want to say my all-time favorite because one of my all-time favorite films is X.
Yeah, the new one. Mia Goth. Yeah, I really enjoyed that and Pearl. Yeah,
I liked those a lot. I liked Barbarian.
Barbarian was really good.
Barbarian was so good.
Yeah.
Wounded Fawn, I think, was fantastic. It's like a modern giallo film. Like I really liked it.
Nice.
It was weird.
Right.
And I mean there were so many. But the other one that really sticks out is actually The Sadness. Speaking of gore.
Yes.
Tying it back to gore.
Yeah, that rocked. Yeah, I was actually telling somebody about that the other day. Yeah, that was sort of like a Taiwanese 28 Days Later, but just like amped up.
So amped up.
Oh, dude, it's like watching like Korean horror films. It's just, yeah, dude, those guys are insane.
Yeah, they're on something over there. They've been putting out a lot of stuff. Barbarian, here's what I was happy to see, and I guess he's just sort of like a scream queen in his own right, but Justin Long. Been in a bunch of horror movies. I loved him in Barbarian, but also one of my biggest, just most favorite movies is Drag Me to Hell, and Yeah, he plays the boyfriend in that movie, and there's even
I got.
I think it. Go ahead.
Oh no, I just got so excited because I really thought that you were going to say Tusk. I love it when people
Oh,
talk about
mm,
Tusk.
I love Tusk. I know people don't like Kevin Smith, and say what you
yeah.
will, but Tusk. I love fucked up horror stuff, and that
Mm,
movie. I'm a fan of the Human Centipede. It's like those movies you watch,
okay.
through your eyes. But
Yeah,
yeah, Tusk was great. But no, Justin Long, he's a. I mean, he's just a beast in horror. Does a great job.
he does. He really does. Um,
Okay.
and Barbarian was like laugh out loud funny at
Yeah,
points, which I was not expecting.
dude. The whole like, "You're my baby"
Yeah.
sequence, like, dude, wow. Okay, okay, we're doing that. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think whatever they may have been trying to say, I might have to rewatch it, but I think whatever they were trying to say maybe went over my head with
No,
the
the thing with Barbarians that they were trying to say something and they stopped mid sentence and they said something else.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like how I interpret that script. And dude, it was masterful because I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting the guy with the weird eyes. Uh, what's the name of that actor? I forget the name.
Alexander Skarsgård, I think it is.
Yeah, that
Oh,
that guy. Like
Guy from True Blood.
he had like the whole like bad guy vibes. Like, okay, this is the bad guy. This is the bad guy. Okay, he's not. And then something else. So just because of that, I appreciated the movie. But yeah, there was a lot of silly points here.
Right. Yeah, the ending though.
oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of Skarsgårds, I guess another one that I liked this year was actually Infinity Pool, which I keep forgetting about, but I did like it.
Mm.
Yeah, I liked it. I'll be honest, I wanted to like it a lot more. Again, I might just be revealing how insane I am, but I was expecting more. I was just expecting more gore. I don't know. I've been
Oh.
going through some stuff lately, but no, I enjoyed the movie, and Mia Goth's been doing a great job, just all across the board. And Maxine, I'm actually super pumped for.
I'm really excited for Maxine. Did you, by any chance, see Terrifier 2 when it was in theater? Because that
Mm. Yeah.
skewed my gore sensibilities quite a bit.
Yeah.
I only watched half of Terrifier 2. I saw all of the first one. It wasn't because it was too gory for me. I just
Of course not.
kind of felt like it got this is my personal opinion, but I kind of felt like it got a little too highfalutin a little bit. Like, I didn't care for the additional character. And, what I really just wanted was a more of the first one, but I don't fault them for expanding and, fleshing out the universe and creating new things. It just wasn't exactly what I was looking for. I'll say that.
I do think that is the goriest film that I've seen on a big screen. And the next couple things that I went to see, I was like, oh, okay. Like, this is what an R rating usually looks like, huh? Like,
let's see. We got Neostar swinging in. Hey, buddy. Says the brilliant star that shines through the night, the surge of power that jumpstarts justice. Riser Man stands before you.
What's up? Best intros in the business.
Sure.
Yeah, dude. Like that's the thing. I don't know if my gore meter is skewed. The thing is, like, I've consumed so much like Japanese cinema. There's this movie called Tokyo Gore Police.
Yeah.
And it's just like modern police. They turn into samurai and they're stopping crime with katanas. So
all right. That would be very gory.
There's a lot of people get like hewn in half and eyeballs poking out. So that's the thing. Like when I see horror now, like they try and do gore, it's like, oh, that's cute. Look at that.
Cat's really out of the bag now.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought he was locked out, but everyone say hi to Malcolm Reynolds.
Malcolm Reynolds. Hey, related to Ian Reynolds, or is that what's damn it, Jurassic Park? What's Ian Malcolm? That's what it is, right?
Ian
Malcolm.
So.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Damn it. Oh, and let's see. Shadowhawk says the first Terrifier was completely unexpected. It just took that crazy left in the middle of the field, something you thought was going to be something else. I really enjoyed the first Terrifier. I think there's a couple anthology. I think it was like built out of an anthology series.
All Hallows Eve.
Right.
Yeah.
Those were fun. Also, we did mention the sadness. He says, "Shoot, was it the sadness you mentioned ago?" Yes,
Yes.
2022, I think, Taiwanese.
We got our. I think it
Mhm.
might have been earlier than that, but we got our American release in 2022.
Yeah, that was one that when it hit Twitter, it hit like a sort of lightning storm, and I was like, "All right," pretty much threw it on right away, and was not
Yeah.
disappointed. What'd you think of the Black Phone? I hold that as my most favorite movie of 2022, but I'm also a huge Scott Derrickson simp. I loved Sinister.
So I have mixed feelings about the Black Phone. I think it was the perfect film for what it was,
Mhm.
but it
Yeah.
also was not what I wanted it to be. I was a huge fan of the short story, which
Mhm.
was more straight psychological horror, whereas the Black Phone, the movie, was a little bit more paranormal. Like
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
definitely a psychic element. You see a lot more outside of the basement, which was not a thing in the short story.
Right.
So so I do feel torn. It was in my top 10. Like I liked it a lot, but it wasn't what I hoped.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you will always end up comparing it to the source, and it's just like, oh, it wasn't like that, and you kind of ruins the experience. But for what it was, the movie
For
was
what it
really good.
was, perfect.
Yeah,
Like there wasn't anything that I would have changed about it.
and Ethan Hawke did an awesome job.
He did so good.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I love Ethan Hawke. I forget his name, but the guy that played his brother in that movie, he plays in Sinister as the detective so and so. I love the two of them together. I was rewatching Sinister one the other day, and yeah, that's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Just due to how insane it is, really Sinister.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Squid Games. Okay, Shadowhawk's talking about Squid Games. Like that's
Squid
a
Game.
that's a Korean series, and
I didn't
that's
see it.
okay. It's Korea. Okay, so going from that premise, I don't know, dude. Those guys in their movies have like a no appreciation for life, and that's what I take out of Korean cinema, which I appreciate. Because if you see like a zombie movie in Korea, it's not gonna be like an American zombie movie or a Cuban zombie movie. I don't know if you've seen Juan of the Dead.
Dawn of the
It,
Yeah,
Dead.
yeah,
I have.
it's a zombie movie from Cuba, and it's a very Cuban film.
Is
It
it
tends
good though, or is it you saying that like it's silly, or is it
It's
does it work
silly.
for you?
It
Or
tends to go silly, but there's a lot of commentary about the reality of Cuba within the zombie film.
interesting.
Because, yeah, like there's this scene where like Cuban prostitutes come down, and there's like a bunch of Spanish zombies coming down. That's exactly what some Spanish tourists go to do in Cuba. So that was like a very delicate way to say, like, hey, stop the sex tourism in Cuba in Havana.
Hmm.
Like little things
Right.
like that. Like if you know culturally what Cuba is, you'll appreciate the movie better. Yeah,
My
dude. Like, go ahead. Yeah.
I had a freelancing job like before I started working on this where I covered media
Mm-hmm.
on YouTube. And when Squid Game hit, I got all the Squid Game videos because everyone knew
Nice.
that I was going to be the first one to watch it.
Mm.
I watch a lot of Korean shows, and Squid Game was fantastic.
Yeah.
They do a lot of anti-capitalist horror in
Mm-hmm.
Korea, which I
Yeah,
really,
they
not that
do.
I would call Squid Game horror necessarily. It's
Mm-hmm.
very horror adjacent. Um, but the one that really got me that year was All of Us Are Dead. Like
Yeah.
absolutely blew my mind. Talking
Mm-hmm.
about Korean zombies.
Yeah. All of us are dead. Yeah,
Some
the thing
dark
is like
shit.
the isolation that the protagonist had in that movie. Like he didn't know what was happening like 12 hours after the fact or something. Because it was on
Yeah.
his computer. Like, dude, that was awesome. Like, I love that movie too. Train to Busan was also really good.
Train to Busan is one of my all-time favorites
Yeah.
ever.
Mm.
Korean zombies scare me more than American
Yeah,
zombies.
exactly.
I would say for a long, long time, I held out that like slow zombies, they weren't scarier if
Mm-hmm.
you're doing hypothetical stuff, but I thought that they were creepier. Like they worked better for me. I was
Mm-hmm.
slow zombie to the end, and then I saw Train to
Yeah.
Busan, and it's like,
It's like,
okay,
yeah.
well that's the exception that proves the rule. And then I saw like some of the other Korean zombies, and it's like, oh no, fast zombies are scarier if they're Korean.
Yeah, if they're Korean zombies. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think the fat zombie thing, when they start with the concept of the infected, which was, I think it was 28 days later that started that
The
concept
rage
of the
virus.
Yeah, the
type,
rage
Yeah.
virus. Like
zombie.
not the rage virus, but the infected zombie, like who runs really fast. I think it will start with that. But the problem, I mean, even though I enjoyed 28 Days Later, everybody was cool in that movie, even the zombies. You know, and that really like that rubs me the wrong way because everybody's posing to have a Pepsi, and it's just like, dude, nah, no, it took me out. It took me out.
The little things in
Yeah.
that type of situation, buddy. You stop to sort of sip on your Coke very slowly in a zombie
Yeah,
apocalypse. You gotta
and the
savor
zombie
it.
apocalypse in slow mo in the midst of
Yeah, I
refreshing
watched.
soft
I
drink.
watched for the first time the other day, Green Room, which I know is I think
Ooh.
2016, but
Yeah.
yeah, that movie was very effective with everything, and it
Mhm.
was pretty much a standard movie for me. Like I'd heard a lot about it going into it. I was like, okay, somebody told me this is going to be crazy, and I was sort of right before, I forget his name, but the main guy who he's like trying to pass the gun through that doorway, and they just grab a hold of his hand and mess his arm up. The his acting was so effective. Like it was a very that was another movie I spent like half the time like, oh my god. Green Room. Okay,
I liked
let's
Green
see.
Room. It's been a
Yeah,
while since I've seen it. I think I saw it when it came out, but it was a good one.
definitely worth a rewatch. I think if you're in for
Yeah.
it's a pretty quick ride. Are you all right there, buddy? Are you afraid of the dark? Oh, there you are.
Well, what happened? What happened?
No,
Oh,
We
you.
lost you for a sec.
the sun's down. I don't.
Oh, so it is. Look at that.
Yeah. No. Okay. No.
No, we can
What's
see
wrong
it.
with the
Yeah.
camera? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Nothing. You're good, buddy. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, Greg here. Hey, buddy. What's up, man? He says, I don't believe
What's up, Greg?
zombies like in The Walking Dead would be capable of bringing about a zombie apocalypse. I think it would just be a series of bizarre, isolated events.
I think
Yeah.
zombies in The Walking Dead would not be capable of anything, and we shouldn't look to The Walking Dead for science.
No, not really.
That's fair.
Yeah, like they were very slow. And actually, like that story, they like focused on the survivors more so than the zombies. Because if not, it would have been very boring.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
That's a
Hey,
show
I'm
that
here.
maybe went on too long.
Yeah, that's the thing. Probably.
Yeah, I mean, I've only I can't I can only get like to like roughly about the jail scene of the show, and I always fall off. It's just it is a bit too long, but I think it just depends on the circumstance. I mean, I think Greg makes a point. You'd have to contain it, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
otherwise it would spread. But yeah, I think we're all pretty much pretty much everybody's waiting for a zombie apocalypse at any given moment. So the moment somebody starts it's like experiencing symptoms, everybody's going to want it to be a zombie apocalypse. So we're
Okay,
gonna know.
but what about flakka, Ginge?
Right,
Like,
that
flakka
crazy drug.
consumption is just zombies, man. Nobody does anything, and that thing like eats your flesh. Like you see guys like missing an eye, is like.
Right,
Oh,
there's a
Jeffrey.
Russian drug called crocodile or something
Yeah,
like that.
crocodile.
where-
Yeah, crocodile, flakka, bath salts. It's all the same thing, man.
Yeah, man. Okay, so Kat, let's dive back into what you got going on here.
Let's do
Oh
that.
yeah. Sorry, I could talk about zombies all day.
No, that's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
Very, very entertaining conversation we're having here.
What's next for you? Are you still is the book is Revenge Arc completely finished, or are you still putting the finishing touches on it, or how's this process looking?
So we have the printed reader copies out. It still needs some editing. We had kind of a tight deadline to get that to the printer. So but final proofs have been done on my end. The editors are going over it one more time. We are waiting. Part of it is actually done because it's all in excerpts. We have one excerpt from the comic that started everything. And those scenes are with our artist right now. So there's still some assembly being done. I'm mostly done with it, but the team is still working on it, getting the final version all nice and shiny.
Very cool. So the comic element of it, are you doing just like some panels within the book, or do you have plans to maybe flesh something out, within a comic? Or
Well, the dream. I would love to see the actual comic done at some point, but as to feasibility, where I'm just taking it one step at a time. I honestly thought Archive of the Odd was not the first publisher I reached out to, and I had a lot of places tell me that the formatting was just too ambitious. I had a really tough time because to query you have to send out a version, of the text, and I had a really tough time formatting that on my own. I had a lot of presses tell me that it was going to be a tremendous amount of work, and they didn't want to work with it. I was pretty sure I was going to have to self-publish this, honestly, and I had no idea how to do any of the formatting that's in here. It would not have looked anywhere near as good. So honestly, right now, I'm just happy that this one got someone that knows what they're doing involved.
Very nice.
There was a lot of material taken out of the draft that's being published. I did some of that before I sent it in. We did a little bit more of it as a team just to make it a tighter narrative. I would love in some capacity to release some of the other stuff that was worked on. There are a lot more pages of the comic script that were taken out. There was like a lot of like Twitter, social media extras that we took out. And I'd love to do something with it. I don't know if that would be like a whole other book's worth of stuff or what.
Yeah, I'm very interested because I mean, some Twitter fights can be horrifying. You know what I mean? And just in the context of the story, if you take like the Twitter fight to a level of like life-threatening, that's horrible. Wow.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of like some of the. I mean, it happens. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure people have killed over a Twitter argument, but people have definitely killed each other over Facebook arguments.
Yeah,
like just town hall bitching.
Yeah,
people...
and that's the thing. Like, what did they say at the funeral? Killed over Facebook. It's just like, no, just don't say anything.
People are insane.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so how would we be able to get a hold of this? I do see a couple links right here. This is for the advanced reader copy? So you said this is coming out in August, or is this?
Yeah, pre-orders are open now. Those links are there's one physical edition and a couple of digital editions. We have like the fully formatted digital edition and a print-only digital edition, which is pretty much in its final phase right now, because it's not getting all of the extra art and stuff. It's pretty much the edited version of what I sent in initially. And we're trying to get on Godless is going to be our last pre-order link, but we have not done that yet. And and then the physical and digital will both be available widely without pre-ordering on August 1st.
All right. Wonderful.
Very cool. You see, guys, $2.99 for the digital copy. The novella sounds very interesting. So, guys, get your hands on it, read it, enjoy it. Make a comments on Twitter.
Oh, show. Yes. So, what's next? Are you the type of person who's sort of planning out their next thing, or what do you got going after this?
I have kind of I multitask. Querying takes a very long time, so I have a couple manuscripts that are done, ready to go out. I'm looking for places to pick them up. I'm also working on a collaboration right now. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Exquisite Corpse, but it's very much in that vein. We have 13 authors. Each one is doing a single chapter of a novella that is, it's called Zombacon, and I'm very excited about it. Finally getting to work on my zombie story.
All right.
So,
Cool.
Awesome, dude. And zombies are better than vampires. Yeah, I said it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Interesting. Well, there's a point of contention. I guess we'll just have to settle on then. Neostar pops in here. He says, "You know what was cool? House of the Dead. Imagine having to slowly traverse a massive manor, an underground chamber, while fending off waves of zombies from a fixed position."
Please tell me you mean House of the Dead, the game, and not the movie, right?
Yeah, it's
not the 2006.
Oh yeah, they tried that.
Yeah,
they tried that.
The games are awesome for sure.
The
Yeah,
games
the
are
games are awesome.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Even though the
they
game, the movie, the movies, House 1 and 2 are really good. Then they got nuts. But I mean, I'm now I'm carbon dating myself because those movies are from the 80s.
The 80s. So I'm gonna I was gonna say I'm gonna date myself. I was not around when this came out. The
Yeah.
house I thought of first was actually the 77 Japanese film House.
Well, yeah.
So I'm
That's a
going
good
like
one too. Yeah.
uh,
Actually, I was around by that time.
Neostars. I miss rail shooter games. Yep.
Yeah.
Old arcade
Yeah, dude. The House of the
style.
Dead was awesome, man. At that time, like all the games were like that. Like you have like the Terminator game. You had another game in House of the Dead. Oh, Time Crisis and House of the Dead.
Right. The
And
dinosaur. Let's shoot some dinosaurs.
yeah. But dude, yeah, this rail shooters.
Yeah, buddy.
Good
rail
times.
shooters.
Yeah.
Good times. All right. Well, Kat, this train's choo choo. We're chugging back into station here. It's about that time. Alrighty. So
thank you so much for having me.
Oh no, it was
yeah.
awesome,
This was
man.
a ton of fun.
Kat, you're an awesome guest. We're having fun. We should talk movies, man. Like we should have you back again just to talk about movies because this was awesome.
I would love to come back to talk just about movies
Yeah.
also.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. We usually we've been trying to dabble more into movies here on the show, just branching out. One of the fun things about getting to talk to different creatives is, there's always there's differences in people's journeys, but it is interesting when you start seeing similarities and things. I've found it to be helpful. Okay. So Kat, we're going to bump you to the back.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Woo. Okay. P Money.
Yeah.
We made it, buddy.
Dude, that was awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I like the story sounds cool. She was an awesome guest. We're talking movies and stuff.
Good show.
I'm
Okay.
growing my beard.
I shaved mine up because I felt
Yeah.
too homeless.
I don't know, man. I just the lady told me like you can't grow a beard. When they tell you that, you know what that means.
I can't actually grow a beard,
Yeah.
sadly. No. What happens is I get the Joe Dirt where it grows all the way
Yeah.
to
Yeah, I
here,
gotcha.
but it actually doesn't connect. My side beard doesn't
mm.
connect to my chin beard. So I
Yeah.
I have bitching 70s mutton chops, but I don't want bitching 70s mutton chops.
Yeah, unless
just
you're a
want
mango
regular
cherry. Unless you're a mango cherry, like it's not gonna
no.
work.
No, the man had a very unique.
I mean, my girl just
What
want to
is
date,
said.
just wants to date Morgan Freeman for a few days. So I'm just gonna please her with the beard.
give her
If
that
this is
old-
coming up.
Yeah,
Eh.
give her the old.
Yeah, I'm gonna be
Give it hand to
narrating.
God.
Yeah, I'm gonna be narrating
There you go. And
while we're doing this stuff. And it's at that
Yeah.
moment when she felt she was with a real man. Yes, I'm just gonna do that all night.
that that sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
Let's say hello to the chat real quick.
Oh,
There you go.
yeah, I'm not active on Facebook, Greg. Just you're paying my man for Twitter. Okay, hit me up on Discord again. I'll check it out. Yeah.
Neostar, I've got to pop into my email and check something you sent me. I'm going to be lettering his book here.
Yeah.
And it's just about done with the script. Good man. Shadowhawk. Anyways, guys, we're just sitting around now. But all right. So let's see. What do you think, buddy? He says, if you guys have time to talk, I'm launching Battlegate in 10 days.
I'll have dinner and then hop in the Discord.
All right. Well, there you go.
Yeah. Mhm.
Neostar says, Pedro, you'd be a great narrator.
Yeah,
Pedro just got a new microphone as well, so that might actually be the case.
I'm upgrading the equipment. You can see it right here.
Pedro sounds like the smoothest piece of sexual chocolate.
Yeah, just smooth as eggs.
No, smooth as eggs. Oh, balls. Huevos.
Huevos.
I'm learning
Yeah,
a little bit.
smooth as huevos.
Indeed. Well, okay. Well, we still got Tropical Magics going on, gang.
Yes, sir.
The old Fun
Yeah.
Comic.
Back it,
So-
moving slowly but moving.
It would be remiss if I did not share that. link.
Yeah. And dude, it was an awesome show. Thank you guys for being with us. on the Ginge and Pedro show. Spread the word. And
Spread your
I don't know.
legs, spread your cheeks.
Spread your cheeks and lift your sack.
Yeah. What do you? Anything else stupid to say, buddy? While we got two viewers.
No, I don't think I had anything stupid to say. I have a couple of clever things to say.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna keep those to myself too.
Oh.
So,
well,
yeah, I think it's time to
30.
get the hell out of here.
I guess it is.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, I guess that was the episode this week. Let me just check who we got next week. Let me just check. Let me just
check it. Check it.
Joe Catapano next week.
Oh, look at that. Sexy man.
Now we're in for a ride, my friend. And yes. Okay. Tropical Magics. Get on the adventure.
You, sir, are a connoisseur of the good things in life.
What do you think, buddy? Should I hit this button? I got this in broadcast button.
Yeah,
Hit
dude.
it?
You should hit it. You should hit it because
Okay.
we're
You
starting to
should.
look very stupid at this moment. So